Alrighty, let's see how long it is before someone turns up and says hello. Might be all night. I don't know. Just realised I got to check to see what the actual fault of this machine was. Let's see. No power on. Laptop damaged in a fall. Fans run at high speed. Then device stops working altogether. Should be fun. Hey ITC, Zoltan, Rich W from the UK. I don't think I've seen you before, Rich W. Welcome. Babak and Ed, and of course Stockholm's Cat Tech, also another person I don't seem to remember. My apologies if you have been here before and I have failed to acknowledge you. I sort of have a bit of a bad memory for that sort of thing. Alrighty, well, guess we'll get this thing apart. Hoping that we're guess we better show the overhead, eh? There we go. Yeah, it doesn't quite fit in the overhead anymore. Oh well. Hey Virgon. Hey, I'm Richard Moore from California. Good old California. From the caveman, yeah, as opposed to caveman. Right, okay, fair enough. Yes, hopefully Wera comes to the party and produces a PL4 or Penelope 4 type driver, and then I can change away from these Weha ones. I gotta admit, the Weha is perfectly fine, and they do have superbly good tolerances on their tips. No complaints whatsoever there. I guess I am just simply being a bit of a OCD fashion fanatic and would like all my drivers to have some, be the same type. I do still prefer this type of handle rather than this type, but that type is certainly 100 times better than this type. This type, honestly, I've got this whole set of Penelope drivers in this form, and I don't know what I'm going to do with them, because I really do not like using them one bit. And at least one of the people watching here saved the day and got me these in the meantime, so thank you very much for that. Hey Gregory W. Oh, Gregory, Sydney. I thought, Sydney's the New York of Australia. You guys aren't supposed to sleep ever. So, can't go blaming me for that. You want to live in Sydney? You're going to have to live with the fact that you've got to be up all the time. Alright. So, fan spins then shuts down. On the 1398. Which one is this? Is this the... Oh, this is the 00 one, isn't it? Oh, 00163. Okie dokie. This will be interesting. Well, I'll plug the MagSafe in and see what's going on. Hey, Penov. The battery actually looks almost... This looks like a very new machine, to be honest. And by new, I mean it has not been used really at all. Let's see. Power output. It's doing a bit of a cycle, so I think we've got a short in here somewhere. I can see the current just oscillating around 0, 150, 250, 0, back and forth. Times change when you have young kids knocking on your door at 6 a.m. You should be so lucky. 6 a.m. I get woken up at 5 a.m. by a claw in the bottom of my foot. By one of the many cats. Very dangerous having your feet anywhere near the edge of a mattress. Hey, warrant stamps. Cat Tech, I'm in Manitoba outside of Winnipeg. Oh, hello. Oh, I'm a Flex Boardview user, thank you. Hey Ricardo. Penov, you shut your face. Do not tell me that they are VCore. Alright, we've only got 5 milliamp being drawn there. I don't like it when Penov gives diagnostic estimations like that. Yeah, I'm almost thinking, if we're lucky, there's going to be a short here. Okay, what we'll do is we'll disconnect everything. Just do elimination trial. This here looks like it's been pushed down a little bit, and there's a slight impact on there. I doubt we'll be so lucky, but let's have a look at it anyway. Find my T5. Got my T5. Okay, drive's been removed. Thank you very much. Always nice when people take their drives out. Saves me having to worry about losing their data or anything of that sort. Hey, Donald Elliott, 726. You're obviously on the east side. We fix TVs from Ireland. Good old Ireland. I don't know why so many people don't like Ireland. Maybe it's because the promised leprechauns never delivered the pot of gold. Yeah, Vogon, I saw that you meant to say Catman. Yeah, I can see that connector's damaged. So, yeah, we're gonna... Hey, Dave Legault, welcome. And Tranquil's here. Hello, Tranquil. As Steve Burridge. Alrighty, well, that's... yeah, that's a pretty bad botch up. That, though, is not likely from an impact. That is from somebody has probably tried to reassemble things, and... I mean, it could have been from an impact, but I've got the feeling that someone just got ham-fisted with this. Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, it's sheared off in both ways. That maybe it could have been damaged, but yeah, I'm really not sure. I'm sort of 50-50 on it being physical damage from a drop or physical damage from someone fixing it after a drop. It's almost like it was put on too forcibly, offset slightly, and it's just gone and bashed the hell out of that connector. It's a little bit broke, yeah. Steve, the fur kids are good, except for the fact that they keep waking me up at ungodly hours. I went to bed at about 3:30 last night. My fault for going to bed that early because I got caught watching Netflix. I was watching that Afghanistan reality documentary, Rest Repo. So now I thought, yay, this is going to probably be the even more difficult thing to do, getting this reconnected. Yeah, that's not going to be any fun at all. I need to strip that back slightly more, just slightly, and then open up this and put a new one in there. It's never any fun doing those. I guess what we can do now is we'll see if we can put power into it and see if it comes up. Well, I wouldn't say Afghan reality show. It was, what I meant to say was there was a what do you call it? Journalist in with the soldiers fighting there, and yeah, living the dream, so to speak. Not really. Anyway, I probably really shouldn't watch those kind of shows, but yep, I think we're going to get a flag of happiness now. When the fans are up, I'm drawing 2 amps. If I plug in my drive, it's probably going to work. Documentary, thank you very much. Yeah, Doco. Which is really a reality show. Hey, Giffany. Oh, g'day, ZX. Just saw you there. Vergon, how'd your cat go blind? Was it blind by birth or just age or medical or physical? Uh, okay, this, I think I've missed the opportunity to get this to bong. Oh, there we go, we've got a folder. So yeah, that's basically what the problem is. But why did the folder just go away then? Oh, it's just a slow flash. That's interesting. Alright. Actually, I will try and boot this. Sorry, I'm going around in loops here. So, which one's option? That one. Damn it. Damn getting older and not having the ability to see things up close. Hey Steve K, how's it going? I'm Paul Howes here. Howes. She sees lights and shadows and paws from other ladies. Blind by virus. Oh, that's terrible. Any idea what it was, or as in what virus? Yeah, I've never seen a slow flash folder either, so this is a new one for me. Looks like I've never seen that connector smashed as well. All fun and excitement. New and exciting experiences for everybody to enjoy. I'm just waiting for this to come up. For some reason, the external solid state drive is actually very... Okay. Oh. Damn it. There's a reason why holding down the option key didn't do diddly squat. Because someone disconnected the keyboard. It could be why it's going slow as well, because the battery is disconnected and the touchpad's disconnected. I know touchpads are alright, but the battery isn't. Plug in a speaker, plug in the battery, and we'll try again. Bloody short-sightedness. Hey Gasman44, welcome. D Wigman Z, have a laptop battery charging only to 69%. Is it a MacBook battery or a PC laptop or what? Female cat's not very pet orientated. We don't know. Found her screen is... Oh. Oh wow. Well, thank you for doing that, Bergon, really. Very nice to see that there are other people out there who will go out of their way to take in an animal like that and to give it a reasonable life thereafter. I mean, yeah, that's really nice of you. Internet recovery, what the... I'm holding down the option key and it gives me internet recovery? Something just really screwy on this. That works. It is picking up my Wi-Fi, but why did it not pick up the drive? No, it's not going to pick up that. Yeah, that's a bit peculiar actually. It is sensing the drive. Alright, see if I've got something I can coax it with. Rodrigo, that should work, because that's actually what I'm doing with this. This was done in a 1286, I think. and it's working on all the other models, but something's not quite working here. So I don't know whether it's because this is a very recent model. Maybe it does not like what I have presented. I'm going to plug in a Mojave boot USB, see if that works. Okay, it picks up Mojave, so it doesn't like whatever's going on there. Mouse click doesn't seem to work. Oh yes, it just takes a while. D. Wigmans, I've got no idea what to suggest about that. Sorry. Vogon, yeah, unfortunately you're right about that with the females sometimes. We started out with Micro and Lulu, both are black and white cats. And they were, it was like mother and child type situation. And then Mia turned up. Mia is a red-headed, long, what do they call it? A butterscotch, long-haired butterscotch cat. And that just caused a huge rift between the other two, Micro and Lulu. And we said, it was just bad luck, but we had enough room and it worked. We worked our way around it. And then with the new group coming along, the trio, we found that oddly all the boys get along with each other just fine, and the girls generally get along with the boys. But the girls in general just hate each other, and it's just like crazy. It wasn't what I was expecting at all. Okay, we're just seeing if Mojave comes up on this. How big is your largest cat? That would be Micro, and he's probably a shade off 6 kilos. And yeah, the vet doesn't really approve of that, especially because he's diabetic. But to give you an idea, I mean, Micro, before the diabetic issue came up, he was already at around about 6 kilos. And then in a matter of 1 or 2 months, he dropped down to 5, and then he dropped down to 4.5. So as you can imagine, we're extremely concerned. Concerned to the point where this time last year, I was dreading the upcoming of Christmas because the way Micro was just not responding to anything we were doing. I legitimately thought we were going to lose him at or around Christmas. It'd be just a typical universe type thing to do. And we would get some days where he would appear to be doing well, he'd be picking up his weight again, and then it'd take one little stress event or something like that and he'd crash out again. And keeping him above 4.5 kilos was an extremely difficult task, and we were feeding him heaps of food, everything. Anyway, it's a bit disappointing in myself because we should have gone and got the blood test done straight up. But the trouble was that he's always been an anxious cat, and obviously, as you can imagine, taking him down to the vet makes things even worse. And we knew that anxiety and stress made him lose weight even faster. So we're trying to just do a back and forth with the vet clinic because they know us quite well, and they're happy to do that. And we're trying all sorts of things, and I think there were compounding issues as well. There was an infestation of worms that were really difficult to get rid of. And there was the stresses of everything going on around because we had a lot of strays coming around. But what happened is one day, it would have been 3-4 months ago now, he wouldn't even respond to eating fresh quail. And when that happened, I knew it was like, that was it. I had to then take the gamble of taking him down to the clinic and get the blood test done, everything done, because at the point where he stopped taking fresh quail, I knew it was like, if I don't do something or I don't get it sorted out medically, I genuinely will lose him. So we found out a few days later it was diabetic, put him on the insulin, and now he's a fat lardy cat again, so which means we're back in trouble with the clinic. Sync is off. Crap. Alright, hang on there. Alright, here we go. Hopefully that's back. Okay, so, we have to get this board out no matter what, because we need to replace that connector. I think that's the primary fault. We'll have to replace that. We may have to replace the daughter board. I'm not sure at this point. I don't know whether I'm dealing with just a physical short on that connector or physical damage causing the issues, or whether it's caused a secondary damage on the daughter board or elsewhere in here, such that when you do connect the connector up, it then plays up. Okay. Now I guess my question is, how did that occur? If I look on the back panel, I cannot see any impact marks. Let's see if we line it up to remember there. There's not a single mark there. Vogon, yeah, that can be fun when you get those sort of cats. Our butterscotch one, Mia, she's like the sweet little princess. And she loves sitting on my lap, and she whinges and complains about everything as a little princess does. But you try to give her a tablet, she turns absolutely feral. She just like, the princess is gone and the feral cat comes out. She's like, and just, you can't get a tablet near her. So we actually have to take her down to the clinic to get them to give her the tablet, because we're not game to do it, because she is it's just kind of crazy how they transform sometimes like that, from being sweet little darlings to absolute terror-inducing nightmares. Okay, we've got, and we're gonna have fun getting these Wi-Fi cables right. I am curious, what is, if that middle connector is just for something like Bluetooth, maybe we can get away with not doing it. Yeah, I'll have to check with the person, of course. Yeah, it could be a case of heavy-handedness. I guess one of those things you have to go through and diagnose. Let's see, you guys are all similar size. Yeah. This is going to be more of a technical skill job, trying to get that middle connector done and getting that plastic connector off. Actually, getting it off is not the problem. Getting a new one back on is. Little fat thug. Hey John, hello, welcome. Fell down the stairs and used the laptop to break my fall. That's right, yes. I replaced the casing, but it wasn't working before I replaced the case. Well, yes, welcome John. Alright, there's I don't know if you saw before, but basically, well, let me show you in case you missed it. This here is the primary issue. So that is the connection that goes across the fan to the daughter board. You can see the cable has gotten crimped. That's what actually gave it away for me. I could see that was crimped. So it like punched through there. And we can see the damage there and there. And inside there. So while that was connected, it was doing something funny to the board, stopping it powering up. But has this been to any other shop for an open up or anything? It's like, did that Wi-Fi connector get damaged through the fall, or? It's just curious because the bottom plate is not damaged at all. I guess this is half the fun really, is trying to do all the detective work and working out how something happened so that you can hopefully come up with the right diagnosis. And I've just noticed that the locking tab is missing on there too. So there's no locking tab there. There should be a little plastic dibby-dacker like that. And we don't have one there. Apple quoted for insurance, but that's it. Something Yeah, something's amiss. I mean, to be honest, you breaking it, falling down the stairs, it is amazing that it is in the condition it is in. I mean, these screens, that should have just shattered, broken, done something. I better be careful what I say, because the last thing I want right now is for it to have a hairline flaw in it, and then when I reassemble everything and send it back, it decides then that it wants to let go of that hairline flaw, because these screens are not cheap to replace. Hey, wait, what? Oh wait, I already said hello to you. Apple quoted for insurance, but she said he replaced the bottom cover. Let's see. Hey, Travis. I mean, just replacing the bottom cover alone is... Oh, hang on. Whose sticker is this? Whose sticker is this? ZJW. Where did this sticker come from? Jono, tell me where that sticker came from, and we'll probably have our answer of how this all got botched up. Can't believe I didn't see that. Great big holographic sticker and I didn't see it. I guess it's easy to be blind sometimes. Definitely this machine is well worth repairing because being the very latest 1398, it's a good machine. Let's see if we've got a speaker connected to get off still. Purchased top case off eBay, swapped it over myself with the antenna connected. Okay, John, so what's the purchase history of this machine? Where did you get it from? Because, I mean, obviously you didn't put that sticker there. So whoever had this machine before you, or has had their hands on this machine, has done that damage. And I think maybe what happened is it was marginal all along, and then with the fall, maybe it broke. Or do you still have the backplate, the one that was damaged? Maybe there is a great big impact in this point here. So if you can check the back of it, if you still have it, you'll be wanting to look around about there. If there's a big dent there, then that will answer the problem. In which case then no one's culpable other than just falling down the stairs. In which case we can get on with simply getting it fixed, although I'm going to do that anyway. Still strange though that there's a sticker there. Because Apple certainly doesn't put that sticker in. Okay. Alright, okay. Alright, if there was a great big dent there, then that's good. Thank you. That'll explain it. And then, like I said, no one's culpable, other than just gravity itself. That would make a hell of a lot more sense, so thank you very much for that. Like I said, it's always good to determine the history of these machines, because it can often lead you very quickly to where the faults are and how you can fix them. Oh, you replaced the top case as well, that's right, yeah. Alright, that now will make sense. Thank you very much, yes. Now I'm just going to go over the board. Let's see. Particularly, we want to check around that same area. SMC's on the other side of that area. I suppose in some ways we could consider it lucky that it was the flex and that connector. Simply because it would have taken... Okay, that's damaged. See how the reflection changes on that? That's an internal short type thermal damage. And it's got a little crack in it too. Yeah. Alrighty. That's a camera related area, I think. Hey, ITM2. Let's see, 00163. I don't even know if I've got the real 00163 or not. Oh yeah, I do. Okay, let's go all in. Dun -dun. Where are we? Display the camera. So it's probably this thing here. Yep, Q8010. So what do you power? 3v3S3 VET. Well, I gotta tell you, I'm impressed that it even boots. Weird. And there's a spat out ball there as well. Okay, let's have a look at that connector. This one here. Nope. What's going on? Oh, there it is. Right next to it. Okay, we'll have a look at where the damage was. It's right in the middle up the top, and it looks like we've got a very burnt line there. And what do you know? 3v3. So what it looks like is that shorted probably to ground, which caused overload on the MOSFET here, which caused it to lose half its brain. And that's why it's puffed out slightly. It's not a lot. It could just be a case of the die in there is still alive, but it certainly was not very happy about it. Yeah, well, hopefully it's not the SMC, because I don't know if I've got a 163 board, to be honest. Still, it is booting. That's the thing. That's quite impressive that it's booting. I'm just marking that with a bit of red. And we'll just carry on with looking around and see what else we can find. Hopefully what might have happened is that with the MOSFET doing that, it usually causes the MOSFET to go to a more permanent high resistance, even if it shorts. And so maybe it might have prevented any more substantial damage. Check to see if we have any issues up here, just through general corrosion. I mean, overall, this board is very new. Bit of random junk. Stand base. Oh, crikey. Basically, when you plugged it in, nothing really happened after it had fallen down the stairs. Or rather, it helped someone not die, put it that way. Stop their fall. But after that, it didn't work so well. I think that's our primary set of culprits. Okay, hopefully John's still with us. Yeah, we'll have to replace that lock there, and we'll have to get that fixed. I'm actually very happy, to be honest, that... Hey, that's a chunk of corrosion in there. Jeez, almost didn't see that. Yep. What sort of issues could have that caused? It's way down here and amongst this cluster. Second and third. 1v35 GPU reg. Their feedback. Okay, that could have caused a lot of troubles. The reason why it could have caused trouble is because it upsets this feedback balance here. It means then that the power generation will produce a voltage that is not what it's meant to be. And it could have damaged the chip. And I have to laugh right now because I tried to zoom out visually on the microscope, and so I used my mouse and tried to scroll out. That is really... It's funny for me. It's funny for me. I mean, yeah, there's no stuff there, but the thing is right next to it, that corrosion and everything, that can upset the divider balance. Because the no stuff is just a capacitor, so it's not really essential, which is fine. What's this jibbery jabbery going on around here? What happened to you? That kind of looks like foam, metal foam. Yeah, it's just metal foam. That's okay. So it's a good thing we saw that, because otherwise we could have repaired all this, and then 3 months later, all of a sudden the GPU gets fried. That's why it's important to look around the board even when you think you found the fault. See what other things you can find. Yeah, there's actually a bit of corrosion coming up the side of the Wi-Fi too, just here. Just there. Oh, man. I've got this transfer pad underneath. It sure likes to stick. And the Wi-Fi modules for these don't fit into my little compartments. The 1466 ones do. Yeah, it looks like the corrosion isn't really a big problem, but it is, yeah, like I said, it's interesting to see that it is there. Alright. Now, the hard task is going to be getting that damn connector off without damaging that connector. At least we can put the locking clip on that without any problem. But, yeah, getting this off and replaced without upsetting that is going to be fun. And I'm going to have to see if I've even got one. dive into the donor boards. Yeah, just gonna have to put up with me. Damn it! I got one here and it's butchered though. Yeah, right. And you're not even the right connector because you're a 3332. This may be a case of I'm going to have to order a replacement specifically. Oh, I do have a 163 board. It's pretty messed up, but at least I do have one. Wow, what are you from? Seems like no matter what board you get, you always seem to not have what you need on hand. See, 3662, wrong type. Ow, ow, ow. Almost at the bottom of the pile. No, also the wrong type. Looks like we're going to only have... Oh wait, what are you? No, wrong type. Okay, looks like we've only got 2 shots at this. Use solder iron, remove pin by pin. Yeah, no. Does Boardview do the connectors as well as the caps and resistor searches? Let's see. Sort of. I mean, the trouble is the connector names change a lot. It depends on who they've decided they're going to use for the particular supply. So if we have a look. It's like, yeah, see, like this is D40HCO30 or whatever. So I can like select that, D40HC, search, find a part. See what comes up with. There might be some other boards that have it. 138, a 426, which we expected, because I think this is a 426. Yeah, it's 426 there. Hey, Mr. Schwammen. Mr. Schwamm, actually, not Schwammen. Sorry. Hey, what the? Okay, well, since you've just had an operation, I guess that's perfectly acceptable that you doing all lowercase. Alright, well, the expected 3 hits are there. The 138, 163 and the 426 are all candidates. And I basically almost have all those. The only thing I don't have, I think, is a 138. So this is a 163, this is a 426. Yeah. So yeah, Boardview search will work on any string that is, or any sequence of characters that's in a schematic. You can look for it. Oh yeah, all the donors are going to have those nice bullet holes through them. Okay, let's see, overhead, microscope. Let's have a look at the quality of these. Yeah, see, that's all beat up. I mean, push come to shove, you could possibly use that if you trim away the excess. So like if you go in on the back side of the blade, not the front, and just do this. There you go. Because what matters is the inner contacts there. The reason why I use the back side of the blade is because it's sharp enough to dislodge this sort of plastic junk, but not so sharp that it will tend to bite into the plastic itself. So we can call this candidate C for if nothing else matches. How about you? You better? No, you're not actually. Oh, you got a solder ball in you, that's all. This one might be a bit better. It looks a little worse because it's got a bit of melting on there, but I guess we'll see how they go. We'll try to get them off. Yes, try to get them off. Oh well, what we can do. Otherwise, like I said, worst case scenario, I'll just have to source and buy a replacement. I guess it really comes down to, in some ways, of how urgent the return of this job is. Hey, UB40. I'm sure John will tell me, yeah, depending on what sort of realistic time frame I can get those parts. If I can find a replacement within a week or two, then that's probably going to be okay. But sometimes you got to go the slow boat out of China, and that can take a long time. Microscope focus off a little. Yeah, it's probably not helping that. My, what do you call it? I don't think it's the focus that you got a problem with. It's the vibration being induced by the extractor. Because the isolation foam that I was using on the extractor, it's compressed, and as a consequence now the vibration comes through. Okay, John, thanks. Good. Tell you what, it makes it easier doing it this way. Being able to talk to people directly as you're doing the job. We'll see how we go. We'll see how we go. Certainly not going to send anything shonky. Oh, I'm having a hard time pickling these. My extractor is doing diddly squat. Yeah, I know you can do them from the underside. Sometimes I can do them from the top side. I'm kind of curious. Depends on the plastic. I've done a fair number of them from top side. It's just a case of being patient, like with the bottom side. Because effectively you're doing the same thing really, cooking up the board. Though admittingly you're not hitting it with the hot air. Nah, botched that one. It's not truly catastrophic, but it's certainly not great. Might have to do the other one off board. Oh, underside rather. Bugger. It's actually quite difficult to do that here. Because my microscope does not extend that far. and my hot air is... Damn. Alright, we got a problem. We can do it from the side. Raise the camera up. Find something to hold the board. Maybe like a great big clamp. Or a lead acid battery or something like that. Eeny, meeny, 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 meeny. So I'm just looking around the room to see what I can find that will do the job that I'm after. Where is my... I should have a vice, swivel head vice. It's been a while since I've used it though, so give me a moment to look for it. Ah, there it is. No, it's just going to switch back and forth. Phew, lucky. Saber. No schematics or board views with Flex Board View because they are third-party property, but it's so dead easy to get them. Just Google for what you're looking for. Like, Google your board number and board view in one request, and you will get multiple answers of what you're looking for. I know other board view programs provide that stuff as part of their package, and it's a nice feature that they have, but it's also a limitation that they have, because you're then therefore really waiting for them to always get those boards into their system. Now I know some of them can side load boards, but anyway, for legal reasons I simply cannot do it. I don't wish to go to jail over such things or have my business reduced to nothingness. Okay, what am I looking for here? No, it's right there. Looks like I need to go higher still. There we go. Alright. Yeah, it's not super old, but I've had it for probably, well, a few years. What's that? Do I detect people telling me what I was already doing? There we go. looks fairly intact. Now, the fun thing is you can't actually do what we just did with this board. The reason being is because if we do, we damage the all the parts here. So we have to take this off the more traditional way. Well, when I say traditional, I mean the overhead. This is where some very low temperature solder can come in use, but we'll be able to get away with just using leaded. Be real helpful if I knew where I put my little strip of solder. Damn it. Yeah, I'm kind of curious myself. What is rose alloy? What do you mean? Yeah, I don't know. Kind of curious to see if I can use a technique that I used on some other things in the past. It involves using a chip lifter. Oh yeah, I mean chip quick, yeah. Not the greatest of fan of chip quick, but that's definitely not going to be a viable option. The idea was I might be able to slip it in underneath. That's fine. At this point I'm just trying to be pedantic with protecting things. I'll put a little bit of Captain tape on that speaker fan connector. Not overly necessary, but couldn't hurt. Yeah, I'm not going to burn it off. I do not have that type of trait in me, like some people. Yeah, never give it up. Can you fix a hammer with a hammer? I guess if you're... Oh, what's his name? Alex Steele. Of course you can. Shit, that came off actually way easier than I thought it was going to be. Alright. That genuinely was far easier than I thought it was going to be. Molten bucket of metal will fix anything. Now that I can agree with. And if anyone agrees with you, you can fix the disagreement by putting them in a molten metal bucket, or a bucket of molten metal. That's a little tricky to say after a while. Yeah, it takes a hammer to fix a hammer. So how did the first hammer get made? Just kidding, we all know how that works. That's evolutionary progress. I do often wonder what tools we're going to end up with in the future that we can only, marvel at. I mean, you consider we make teeny tiny parts now, although I've noticed they haven't really ever gone below 01005s. Not that I blame them. I mean, beyond that size, you may as well just go on to the wafer. What I didn't check is, okay, I wanted to see if there was any ground pinned, like mechanical grounding pins, holding pins, but there's not, so we're all good. Now I could put solder down, flux and, what am I talking about, paste, and do this, but I'm trying to decide whether it's going to be more successful with hot air and paste or with the JSO2 tip and solder. Laser techniques and laser desoldering. Well, I've seen laser soldering in things like a nitrogen atmosphere. So you got the different, already we've got the complex there. So start at the corners and solder or paste it. See, vote the JSO2 tip. I'm probably going to go with the JSO2 because I'm a little worried that, I got away with this with the hot air, and also, we didn't impart too much damage on this. Speaking of which, I think this is actually backwards. Not that I think this connector is actually has an orientation, but yeah. Naturally I was a dum-dum and didn't bother to check the orientation before I yanked it off. There's two key marks in here. There's got the one here that says A and the other one that says HRS down the other end. But so far as I can tell, they are unbiased mechanically. Let's go JSO2, but we'll do it with a twist. We'll actually stick a little bit of leaded solder down there. Leaded solder paste, rather. And then we hit it with the JSO2 tip. Because a lot of the problem when you're trying to do these with the soldering iron is that the radius of the tip exceeds the sort of the fillet radius of the solder. Whereas if you put a little bit of solder paste in there, it creates... There we go. There. It's done. Yeah, the paste is already in around the tip where the legs where you want. Okay, we've got one leg there. Alright, we've got two legs done. We're just tacking. once we're done the tacking, we'll just use a ball of solder to roll along the whole lot. I use the paste method a lot on iPhone connectors. It's right now. Oh, thank goodness ITM2. Still, is there actually a physical variation on this connector? Or is it simply just merely a print orientation? Like I said, I should have checked before I put it down, but alright, that's good enough. Are you going to replace the fan connector? I don't have to, because you can just clip another one of those lock bars on there. You just got to slip them in from the side. Well, I'll show you when I do it. Okay, now I've got too much damn flux here. There's a big fat ground plane there, that's why. Probably not the most professional looking way of doing this, but it does work. You just sort of put in a big fillet of solder, get it across all the pins, and then suck away the excess with the soldering iron tip. Might have to use a little bit of hot air just to help it along. Those ground planes are pretty brutal. Actually, they're not all ground planes. That's the 3v3 one that's giving us grief. So I'm just going to put it on 250. So 250 is not going to melt anything, but it's going to put the heat into these big copper planes, so that when I put my soldering iron tip onto those pads, it should just pick it right off like that. I need more flux now though. Jeez, if not one thing, you need another. Where's my third arm? Okay, let's go with that again. No, too much wind. I had too many baked beans today, it seems. Those 3v42 lines are bothering me a bit. Okay, that's good. Now we'll do the other side. Okay, enjoy the grocery marketplace. Hope you get some nice produce, fresh food, healthy stuff I should be eating, but instead when I finish the stream I'll probably go and eat ice cream. Tranquil, you mean Chris Long? Chris Long does pretty good work, especially with iPhones, well, most phones. I've picked up a few nice techniques from what he's done, like the iPhone Shield gravity drop technique. That was, well, I learnt that from Chris. I don't know if he invented it or not, I don't care, but he certainly... I know what the hell's going on here. Now see how my flux is burning up in smoke a lot? That is because the other night I set my soldering iron to 399 centigrade, whereas normally I have it at 380. And that extra 20 degrees is making the flux really burn off aggressively. See, it's less aggressive now. I mean, it's still burning off, of course, but nowhere near the same ferocity. I may have to... yeah, gonna have some fun getting those out. Hey Richard Bicker, how's it going? You got a question? Well, guess you have to ask the question. Standard rule of asking me questions is you don't need to ask, you just ask. And if I don't reply, then I probably don't know. Okay, we're gonna have trouble getting into that last little couple of pins there. Hey, Kenny Dorman. Use right hand. Yeah, that's not happening. This board will feel very strange if I use my right hand. They'll start asking me questions about who was it that touched me. Hey Drew from Scotland, how's it going? Hot air again. Man, the vibration from the fan system is getting a little out of hand now. Let's see, A1398, his display won't sleep when the clamshell closes. Yeah, I'd say SMC lid as well. I mean, I don't know whether it's the SMC at fault, the sensor at fault, or what. I suppose the first thing you can do is try and manually drop it. Okay, I've got a little bridge in there. At least I'm pretty damn sure I've got a bridge in there. Last thing we want is another... After we just rescued this, put another bridge in there. Yeah, that looks better. Yeah, that's right. Could be the Hall sensor, could be a magnet, but... is that still bridged? Time to wash and find out. Or... the smarter thing might be to use the multimeter. Bring up the multimeter. Stan, if you want to replace the speaker connector or any of those sort of you can still do it with hot air. You just got to be careful about it. Okay, I'm pretty sure these are actually meant to be bridged, those two. Yeah. Yeah, I need to wash away all that junk. There is a level of heating that you can apply to the board without the plastic melting, because obviously, I mean, that's how they reflow these in the first place. The whole lot goes into an oven, and clearly it doesn't cause damage. The only reason why plastic tends to get messed up in manual reflowing work like this is because the hot air creates localized hotspots. Which is why Captain Tape actually is effective, because the Captain Tape redistributes, it protects the corners and things like that of connectors from having the localized hotspot concentration. So when you put the tape over it, it's not that the tape is magically reducing the temperature from side A to side B, rather it's just simply because it's distributing that heat. It's stopping the concentration point. And of course the tape itself can handle the heat, so it doesn't melt, and that's the key. If it started melting, then it would basically reform a hotspot. But because it doesn't melt, it protects that situation from happening. Yeah, they're not meant to be connected, so we've got to clear that out. Because yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. If you put your finger behind Captain Tape and you heat it up, you're going to burn your finger for sure. It's not going to stop that. It's not an insulator as such. It's more of a redistributor. Not entirely happy with a couple of those connectors down there. They got little solder dags hanging off them. No, I don't like that. Looks like it's still taking me 15 to 20 minutes to get this done. Looking good on this side though. Just make sure that they are actually connected and not floating. Well, I mean, with regards to the tape, that's my personal theory. I wouldn't call it an official statement, but it's certainly my personal theory, and it explains why, in spite of the fact that the tape does not provide strong insulation, thermal insulation, it still prevents a lot of melting. So you can choose to go with that or not, or come up with a better theory too. The other effect is also just the air gap effect. Damn it, there's a little... Yeah, there was a little dag of solder in there. And I wanted that out, and I think I've got that out now. If I could have trusted the hot air, Travis, it would have been over a lot quicker. But I think we all were feeling a bit edgy about that. Yeah, you can certainly do it using the hot air. I have a good example. Let's see, how can I demonstrate this? Oh, I know, I'll get a flex. I think a flex demonstrates very well how this can work. Yeah, let me just find a flex that I don't give two hoots about. Maybe some old... No, I might want that one. I might want that one too. Ooh, what about... No. Damn it. And I've already assaulted you. Please stand by while Paul tries to find something. Your anticipated wait time will be 2 minutes. Oh, here we go. We'll just steal it off the screen. That'll work fine. ZX, the owner's here in the chat, so they certainly are going to care. Besides, I want the joints to last well. Okay, so we've got a flex here. with a connector. Say we want to harvest this connector. I'm going to use 420 and say 30 air. 420 degrees, 30 air. And so as long as you've got some flux on there, again that helps with ablating the heat away. I shouldn't say ablating because that's not the right term. It stops the corner points. There we go. See how that just comes straight off? Because the real difficulty in getting these things to come off is not so much trying to directly heat the connector or the joins, it's getting the substrate that it's sitting on to warm up enough that it will then allow the solder to melt. And so that's how you can take these things off without doing any damage whatsoever to the plastic, because the plastic will coat so long as you can get whatever that's connected to heat up enough to let go. Anyway, looks like I just harvested 2 connectors which I'll never use. And that's why you can... Man, this board looks ugly as heck now. Alright, I've got to get rid of this thing. Yeah, if you can take your time, get the board to heat up enough, and then sort of hit it with a bit of a blast, just to push it over that final last bit, you can harvest most things without damaging them. And that's how the reflow ovens work, because when you think about it, the reflow oven just slowly heats up everything over a couple of minutes. Has a peak for about 30 seconds, and that's about it. Hey Antonio. Hey Ispan. We're gonna get this MOSFET off. It's seen better days for sure. So most of the time when you're sitting over the top of a part trying to get to reflow, you're really waiting for the board to heat up. Which is why if you don't have a hot air system that's got a lot of thermal capacity, delivery capacity, you can end up cooking the part before you can even get it off. So I guess that's what you're really trying to do, is get the part, the board under it to heat up fast enough that you don't cook the part. Right now this is proven to be a little bit of a challenge because this is a pretty hefty little spot. Come on, you're going to come off soon, you better not be welded on there. Yeah, that's a big chunk of copper to try and heat up. Okay, so pin 1 closest to the memory chip. Hey Dirk, how's it going? My soldering iron's going to stick. Oh, for those in Germany, why is it that almost every German show that I watch, no one laughs, there's no humour? What is the deal with that? Is it just that German TV in general or whatever is decidedly without humour, or it's something that you guys don't really care about? I mean, as opposed to say you take British TV where it's almost nothing but crazy laughs, or at least from their perspective anyway. It's just something I noticed. Like, I've been watching the series on Netflix called Dark. It's a good series, but definitely no laughing in it. That is German humour. Ha! Great. I mean, hey, yeah, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, I'm just curious because it's, just a trait, it's a signature style. No harm in it. Or maybe I'm just not watching the right things. Anyway, it's a good show. Oh, you little SOBs. What is the point of getting a donor board if they've flogged off with the part that you want? Ah. This is why having donors This is why you need multiple donors. What board is this one? 3332. Nah. This is not going to have the chip I want. Damn it. We may have to do a green search. Oh wait, this one might have it. The unlisted. Can't say I've heard of the unlisted. That's got a little bit of damage to it. Alright. Since that's got a little bit of damage to it, what I'm going to do is let's see if we can find that part using the part find facility. Okay, so Q8010, and it's a, what is this, SIA 413DJ. Okay, search, find a part, Control V, search. Hey Sonia, welcome. Good to see you, glad you make it. Oh wow, 2915's got him. Haha. It's the 2915, well it's a fairly much a useless board for repairing. It does actually have a phenomenal amount of parts that are used by other boards. So it's well worth keeping them. One or two of them. Oh wow, they're everywhere. 315. Oh, okay, it's a very common part, this one. Okay, on the 2915, where are you? Hilariously, it's also used for the same thing. All these. So it's interesting, in spite of all the years' difference, they still use the same MOSFET and switching stages for those particular rails. So, is that you there? I don't even know if this is the right part. I'm just taking a fat guess based on physical size. And then I'll check. I'm kind of curious if I can do it this way. Man, looks like the flux monster's been here. There we go, there's one. I'm almost 90% sure that will be one of them. Let's have a look. 7840. Q7840. Oh, well we know it's that one, but what's this one we've got under here? I'll laugh if that is actually the one I'm looking at. I don't think it is. Okay, that there is 7840. This here is 7820. So it wasn't far off. It's the same thing anyway. So I'll take that one. See, we're going to have a debate about Apple with their good, bad, whatever. See, in the mobile phone Facebook discussions, things are getting warmed up again over such things. Personally, I don't have a major issue with Apple. I mean, they're pretty much as expected. Alright, now where's my pin 1? What are you doing, Paul? Oh, flip. Alright, I can't get a guarantee. The board view shows a bit of a weird chip configuration, but we can tell if it's the right orientation by just flipping the actual physical part over, seeing that we've got the same pad line up. And I think I will remove that flux because it's contaminated with my marking pen. Yeah, I mean, that's just it. It's more the company that's the issue. The equipment itself I don't really have a big issue with. It's pretty much exactly as I would expect from any company. And in fairness, you know, we are getting a hell of a lot more information out of Apple than we are most other businesses. I mean, if you've done PC repairs for a bit, you'll know that getting a hold of a board view and a schematic, oh crud, isn't exactly the most common thing for PCs. Which is why it was actually quite an interesting thing for me when I started doing MacBook repairs to know that all this stuff was available, and it was quite a change to have to get used to that. Because prior to that I was like, well, what's a board view? What point's a board view? You can just find the part on the board sort of thing. But now, knowing what a board view is and how useful it is, it's like, oh hell, I wouldn't like to go without that now. Well, that's just it, isn't it, Yuri? You know, they're really... And the problem is that the boards that are probably financially worth repairing, the high-end stuff, there's not enough of them, and you don't get the data with them. You know, there's no data really available for them, and getting replacement donor bits is near impossible. Everything just doesn't work out for it to do it that way. I just wanted to reflow that to make it look a bit better. Alright, we've still got that janky resistor down at the bottom here. Yeah. Scrub that out. Ed, you're talking about the area that I'm just working in now? Well, basically anything over $1,000. Yeah, something that is more than your... anything say like i5 onwards, or maybe even i3, but usually i5 upwards. Now I'm just going to touch up the solder on the caps of these parts, the end caps of them, and see how they behave. Now if they hold the solder and they don't try to break free or anything like that, then I'll be fine with that, because this will go through ultrasonic. There could be a break though between these ends here. Now I've got to be careful because I'm pushing my luck there, and I'm going to pick up one of the parts by accident in the solder blob, and that's not going to be any fun. Because the first reaction you have when you accidentally pick up a part in your solder blob is you try to shake it off, which does absolutely nothing. More than anything, you usually lose it then. Yeah, I'm a little worried about that top no stuff pad. Yeah, I may have to run a tiny wire across those two. Don't go under the CPU. Yeah, I'm really not enjoying this new tube of flux, I'm sorry to say. It very quickly turns into this quite difficult to remove rosin gel. It is not like the previous tube that I had of the same stuff. Something's definitely changed in the formula, and it is not pleasant to use, so I'm probably going to just throw this one in the bin, to be honest. And I think I got corrosion under that resistor, which is really gonna tick me right off. Damn it. It means I'm gonna have to take that off. Yeah, I've seen Tim complaining about it, and I didn't get to see anything until, well, my previous tube only just ran out the other week. So now I think I'm experiencing what Tim was experiencing. And it's annoying, I must say. Because you go in to clear away your flux, only to have the alcohol almost do nothing. Hey Cat Tech, what you going? J4800 to replace. I'm learning so much this morning. J4800 on which board? Oh man, I've still got solder on that. Yeah, I was worried this board job wasn't going to be all that interesting for the person who sent it in. But as much as this has been a nuisance, I am kind of glad, because it made it for an entertaining stream. Okay, it looks like the copper there is okay. That pad is... I'll just cut the damn fan, because that is vibrating like anything. The pad definitely had started to corrode away. You can see where it's eaten away here. But the bridge between them is fine. So what we'll do is we'll clean that up, put the new resistor down, and we will probably green blob it. Yeah. You got your flux from Amazon. Does that mean it's Vaseline? This is starting to become Jason Vilmer type of work now. By the way, if you do iPhone stuff, definitely well worth subscribing to Jason Vilmer of STS Telecom. He's quite entertaining to watch. He puts a lot of effort into making his videos rather amusing, so I applaud him for that. Unlike me, I take the lazy way out. I just do live streams and say, don't like it, suck it. That was a little harsh, Paul. Didn't have to be like that. Anyway, yeah. When you do live streams, people don't get to complain as much. Okay, see if we've got those resistors that we want down here. Oh goody, yeah. Okay, so we want that middle one there. which is quite amazing that's still there given the destruction around. Thank goodness for that. Let's see, we are going to... Okay. Steve K, yeah, this is a V2 one, so yeah. Yeah, if someone could put Jason Vilmer's YouTube channel on the link, please, that'd be really awesome. Like I said, I find him very amusing with the stuff he does. It is interesting that a lot of us, when we start out with streams, like when you look at our early streams, we tend to be a bit of a patchwork of the people that influenced us. I mean, a very obvious non-blended type patchwork. So you'll probably see bits of, let's say, you probably see bits of Lewis or Jesser in the presentation. But then over time you start to get used to being who you are, and your video content tends to finally become more about what you are as a person, and that's when it really gets interesting. And like I said, Jason's gotten to that point, and I find him to be far more interesting in that way. I'm going to drop to a smaller nozzle size here. This is going to be a little bit of a delicate operation. I could manually solder this in, but the angle itself is actually already precarious, so yeah, I don't know if I'm going to win either way. I bent myself. Oh well. Good. Thank you very much for putting the Jason links in. Thank you. Really appreciate that. I mean, he's got something like 60, 70,000 subscribers now, so he probably doesn't need anything from me. But I'm more than happy to suggest him, because I do find he produces good content. And I find it an interesting change. That's what I'm looking for. The squiggly little 4mm one. The only thing I don't like about this nozzle is that it's a little bit long. I do prefer if my nozzles are a bit shorter. But beggars can't be choosers, and I'm not going to angle grind that one down right now. Way too much air. Seriously, 110 coming out of that? That's hopeless. Go for 40. I don't know if this is going to work. So I can't even get my tweezers in at the right angle there. What we're going to do is we'll just point it right at the... Man, I got the shakes. Come on, leaded solder, do your trick. You're going to suck, aren't you? No, more heat. Can't really go more air because I'll just blow things off. Yes, my little pretty reflow. Come on, you can do it. Perfect. Took a little longer. That's about it. Justin from Art of Repair. I think the issue... Yeah, I mean, if you're starting out learning things and stuff like that, I don't really watch Justin's stuff much, mostly because he hasn't been posting much lately. But he does have some good techniques too with his earlier videos. I think he's pretty busy at the moment doing other real stuff like being in China and coming up with the interesting details about the various phone situations that we've got. And the other person, of course, I do like to watch a lot of is Cody's lab. Although Cody is probably suffering a bit of YouTube burnout at the moment, I think. Alright, what else did we have to do? I think that was it, wasn't it? Pretty sure that were the 3 areas that needed work. Now, we're not going to reuse that flex, that crossover flex, that is damaged, and we'd be an absolute moron to reuse that. I mean, what's the point of going through all that hard work only to stick a broken flex on and then go... oh, I know what we're going to do. We have the problem with the Wi-Fi connector. Yeah. That... what's the time? Okay, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I am actually... oh, the clip on the fan connector, thank you. Alright, I'll show you how easy these ones are. As soon as I can find a replacement one. Yep, you're missing. How typical. How about you? Okay, we've got one here. The antenna connector, I think I might just have to do that in solitary confinement. Someone tell me where I put my tweezers by chance? Oh, there they are. Okay. Okay, so you just pull them out like so. Come on. There we go. This one could be a little tricky because it's all fluxed up. Anyway. You gotta be careful because, yeah, if you do botch it up, you're gonna break some more pins and give yourself a world of trouble. And there we go. That's it. All done. So, now you gotta, these actual data pins, there's a fork on them, like it looks like that when you look sideways. And so you're driving the lock connector, you're driving the central bar of plastic that's in it into the fork. And then what happens is, so you get that into the fork, and then the little dimples at the either end of the connector keep it locked within those arms on the outside. So yeah, easy fix. So yeah, you don't need to resolder them when they do that. It just takes a little bit of practice to get the right tension, because what often happens is when you're trying to get the dimples to lock in, it'll come in on one side and then it'll fly out the other and vice versa. So it's a bit of a fight the first few times, but you get used to it. You start to learn what sort of pressure you need. If you have troubles with the broader ones, you can use like a spudger just to help you keep the center of the bar in those forks. Alright, I think we're good there. Just want to see if that does still connect. I'm not going to actually power it up or anything, but I just want to see if the good end still makes contact. If I can find the flex. Ah, there it is. Actually, I'll have a look. Hey, how do you pronounce that? Race Bauer? Race Bauer? I just noticed something. Note for future reference. Oh, there's a bit of corrosion under there too. This end of the connector has the connector we need, but this... ah, crap. Alright, we could have harvested it from that, and that would have been a perfect connector. Oh well. Things you learn. Things you learn. I guess I'll keep that for the next one, because I'm going to have to replace this flex anyway, because obviously that's damaged. Yep. Didn't think of that one. I suppose they do that to stop the situation that they have like on the 1466s where people can put the fan connector on either way and completely ruin things. Oh well. I guess what we should do is just check that we do get a power up here. Put a fan on. We're not going to put the fan in on that one because there's all flux in that connector, and that will just make things a bit awkward. But we'll put our power on here. Where is my... Where are you? Okay. Green light. 1.5 amps. And we've got a fan spin. So we're all good. Power consumption's about right. So I'm happy with that. Let's see. I'll just plug this in just to verify that we do get CPU activity. Fairly sure we should. And yep, we've got CPU activity, so we're all good. Beautiful. Alright. Okay, alright Johnny, well, there you go, your board's primarily fixed up. I'll just have to order a replacement one of these flexes. They'll come in probably Tuesday morning. No, not Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon if all things go well. And hopefully things should be good there. Just notice there's a bit of a divot in your PCH chip. Hopefully that's not going to be a problem. It's a little hard to see here, but yeah, there's a divot there. But I think we might be okay. Yeah, it's not misbehaving, and it looks like it was just pushed down, but yeah, I think we're okay there. Gotta watch these things. Alright. Yep. Okay, so well, we got that fixed up, and it was interesting that we ended up with 3 different problems. Oh, I've got to do the Wi-Fi cable still. That I will probably, if I'm going to do that on video, I'm probably going to record it and then play it back, you know, as an actual upload video. It's definitely not going to be live stream. I will probably do multiple practice runs on something else just to get me back up to speed with doing it. The trouble with, pardon me, the trouble with these coax connectors is that if you put too much heat on the center core or even the outer sheath, then that inner plastic dielectric air separation material, that just immediately melts, and you end up with the core touching the outer shield and things like that. So it's going to be a bit of a delicate operation. Yes, I'm going to have ice cream after this. That'd be good. So we got to win. So that was the thing. In the end, yeah, we weren't getting any boot up, and it turned out that was physically broken. And the reason why I looked for, I was going to say, yeah, that connector there is physically broken. The reason why I was pretty confident about that is because it's known that on these sort of models, that if you have a problem on your daughter board, you can often disconnect the daughter board and the machine comes up just fine. So it was not unexpected to see that if there was physical damage on that connector, that it could also be bringing the board down. So, and I was glad we also picked up that corrosion on the feedback divider for the graphics, because like I said, that could cause problems later on. Maybe I would have given it another 2 or 3 months, that would have blown through and the board would have been dead again. And given that this is a near new machine, that would have been really tragic. And of course the 3V3 MOSFET, yeah, I'd say that was damaged during the short, so it's a good thing we replaced that. So, alright, well, going to leave it at that. So I really appreciate everyone sticking around and giving your input and things like that. Let's just see if I didn't miss anything here. Let's see, Daniel fixed his 1466. Oh, great, excellent job. Good to see. Yeah, let's see. I'm also going to be doing some more board work with the software. things like the XS, XR Max, I think it is, and the Qualcomm 8 Plus, they should be magically appearing sometime in the near future as well. So if you haven't got Flex Boardview already, or you're waiting on the iPhone type fruity files, they are popping up now, so you can go along and get them. You can see all the links on my website. I'm not personally distributing them. They're out there, but I've made Flex Boardview able to read those files, so yeah, now you can actually get out there and do iPhone repairs without being tied to some server over in goodness knows where that is receiving goodness knows what information from your system. So, alright, leave it at that. Thank you all again for watching. I really appreciate it. You'll take care. Don't let the dingoes bite. I'll catch you later.